Welcome back in. My name is Bryce Koon alongside Coach Butch Jones of Arkansas State. Coach, first off, appreciate the time. You got a busy day today. I've seen you making the rounds. You squeezed us in, and I'm going to go ahead and say it. Logan Whaley's going to be pretty excited about this one.
Well, I'm practicing to do Logan proud.
I got you.
So kind of in my next life, I want to get into media. So I've learned a lot from him. But thank you for the opportunity to spend some time with you. It's been busy, but as media days goes, it's kind of the official kickoff to the football season, and the energy, the excitement. It's an opportunity for everybody to speak positively on their football programs. And so again, I always look forward to this. This is my 15th media day, but it never gets old.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And Coach, obviously, you're no longer the rookie here in the Sun Belt Conference either. Kind of talk about, what's this like coming to this event? One of the kind of, I guess we call grizzled vets of this conference, and the conference has a lot of new head coaches, a lot of new faces.
Well, I have a tremendous amount of respect for this conference, especially you realize we've had to build a program from ground zero. And that sustained success in this conference is really hard to get. So you're very, very appreciative of the process. It's a challenge week in and week out. I think it's very similar, and it's all relative, but to the SEC. And so you have a lot of great coaches. If you really look at the Sun Belt, it used to be referred to the Fun Belt, and it's monumentally changed in the last 4 or 5 years. When you look at the commitment by the institutions, the athletic directors, the quality of coaches that we have, the recruiting levels, the proximities of where all the universities are, so all of a sudden the ever-changing landscape with NIL and transfer portal and all that goes into it. So this conference is completely different. I think Commissioner Gill, with his vision, this is the premier Group of 5 football conference in America. So, there's a maturity level that it takes to compete week in and week out in this conference.
You mentioned, obviously, the proximity factor, and that's something I was talking with a couple of coaches. It's kind of like the old guard. When you look at college football 10, 15 years ago, the Sun Belt is kept with these regional rivalries. How special is that to you as a college football enthusiast? I know you are, and obviously as a head coach, but when you go sell Arkansas State to recruits and other places, this is a place where you can still keep those things intact.
No question. And, it helps in recruiting from a family standpoint, that they'll have the ability to watch their son play week in and week out. And if they can't, then you look at the TV package that we have and the partnership with ESPN and all the ESPN platforms and the NFL network. So when you look at that and then the regional rivalries that go into it, and if you look at college football, what has made college football what it is over the years? It's been those rivalries. And to be able to be in a conference that kept those intact, again, I think that speaks volumes for the vision of this conference and moving forward as well.
I know Arkansas State is excited to be a part of that. In 2024, Coach, let's talk a little bit about this season. You guys reached a bowl game last year. And one thing, when you look at your tenure so far here at Jonesboro, it's one of those things where it's been incremental success. Is that something that when you came in, you said, hey, we don't want to be a flash in the pan. We want to build something sustainable?
Well, it definitely has been a journey, and we talk about respecting the journey. And, year one was really year zero. Didn't really know what we had. We had to bring a bunch of transfers in just to fill the football team. And so after that year, we've always prided ourselves in having developmental programs. And we said we're going to build this. There may be a lot of growing pains, but we're going to build it for sustained success, for sustainability. And so we're going to start in the high school ranks, and we've been able to do that, supplement it through the portal, but also be able to adapt and adjust with the portal as well. And we've been able to do that. And our culture, we spend an inordinate amount of time with our culture. We pour into our culture and everything that we do. We have an extremely connected football team. And even though we're the third youngest team in college football, we have, again, 42 newcomers. You can't assume anything. But I like where we're at, and I like where we're going.
Once you guys get back to Jonesboro, you're going to get ready to kick off fall camp and really get into the swing of things. What are some of the maybe marks that you want this team to kind of take on as their identity? It's not going to be a finished product when you get to week one, but what are some of the things you want to see this group take on?
I think, first of all, the foundation, the standard is the standard, but the connection, but the toughness, the physical, the mental, the style of play, the fundamental discipline that it takes to play winning football. Really, for the first time last year, our players finally experienced what winning football looks like and what goes into it from a preparation standpoint. It's what you do from Sunday to Friday that allows you to have success on Saturdays.
You kind of mentioned this right there, but I wanted to ask you, learning to handle success. I mean, a lot of teams and coaches, when they come into a program that maybe hasn't experienced a lot of that, they not only have to learn how to win, but how to handle that. Has that been a message for your guys?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that's the next step is how do you handle some success? How are you driven? How do you learn from it? I thought we learned a little bit from that in the bowl game. We did not play our best football in the bowl game. And I think some of it is we were very emotional. We probably wanted to win too much and not focus on the task at hand. So I think all those things, you have to be able to apply all the experiences that we've had the first 3 years and really apply them into this season.
Let's talk about your experiences as we round it out here. I mean, obviously, Coach, you've had a lot of great stops at some great institutions, now here at Arkansas State. And what are some things that maybe you've learned about yourself just in your time in Jonesboro?
Well, it's been a process, and I think, you have to believe in that process and you can't waver. You need to stay true to who you are, your belief system, and continue. And it's hard to be patient in today's world because we live in an instant gratification society. But we made the decision we were going to do it the right way, and we knew there would be growing pains. And hopefully, you do things the right way, you continue to grow and elevate your culture, and you look up and you like where we're at. And again, we've made significant progress, but there's still a lot of left out there to get better. But I'm excited to see that, and I'm excited to see how this team handles some of the successes from last year with an extremely demanding schedule, and the expectations have changed as well.
I wanted to round it out here with this. You talked about demanding schedule. Every single team in this conference, it looks like, is scheduling a high-level group of 5 and then a Power 5 opponent. What has been the mentality in that, especially with the expansion of the playoff and knowing, hey, if we play our cards right and things fall where they may, we could find ourselves playing meaningful football in December?
Well, I've always said this, and it dates back to our years at Central Michigan and Cincinnati. A lot of times your scheduling will dictate how successful you are. And so we have a scheduling philosophy. The problem is a lot of times the schedules are set so far in advance. But when you look at the challenge that we have of going to a national champion football program in the University of Michigan, then going right back on the road against one of the most physical football teams in the Big 12 Conference in Iowa State, that's going to be a great challenge in and of itself, let alone Central Arkansas, that's one of the premier FCS programs. Tulsa, Coach Wilson's done a great job there of really remolding, reshaping their football program. So it's going to be a great challenge. It's a week-to-week season. But, as scheduling goes, it is what it is. You got to play it. I do think we need to use the 2 byes to our competitive advantage. The great thing is we have basically 3 4-game seasons. Because we have a bye week after every 4 games. So how can we turn that into a competitive advantage for us and moving forward?
Excited to see Arkansas State take the field in Jonesboro. And, Coach, we appreciate the time.
As always, appreciate you, and tell Logan Whaley I said hello.
I think the audition went well.